Good afternoon, everybody, or good evening, or good morning, depending what part of the world you are joining us in right now. My name is Karen Cottrell. I'm head of the Professional Standards team at the Chartered Banker Institute, and I'll be your host for today for this Principles of Responsible Banking Academy showcase. Our presenters today, who will be presenting at the showcase, are both professional standards managers within the Chartered Banker Institute and are both currently studying some of the modules within the PRB Academy, so can provide some useful insight as we walk through the presentations. Craig Graham will be our first presenter, and Craig is going to be giving us some background on the Chartered Banker Institute and the creation of the PRB Academy, and then he'll talk us through the modules. We'll then pass on to Bradley Perot, who is also one of our professional standards managers, and Brad will then take us through the learning management system and a detailed look at the modules. And once Brad has finished his session, then we can move on to a Q&A session. If during any of the sessions you would like a copy of the slides that you see, then if you could just pop your details into the chat, and then we can get those details sent to you. At the Q&A session, if you've got any questions that you want to pose, then we'll ask you to raise your hand or pop those into the Q&A box that will be available. My thanks to you for joining today, and I will pass on to Craig. Welcome, Craig.
Thank you very much, Karen, for the introduction. Yes, so as Karen has mentioned, my name is Craig Graham. I'm a Professional Standards Manager at the Chartered Banker Institute. This morning, I'm going to run through a brief introduction of Chartered Banker Institute and the PRB Academy, a short video to give a bit more information, and then we'll move on to a presentation slide deck to give you more information on those modules within the PRB Academy. So for you lucky people, I've left my camera on just now. However, I will turn it off when we get to presenting, so that the video and the slide deck runs smoothly. So first of all, to introduce the Chartered Banker Institute a little bit, at the Chartered Banker Institute, we provide learning pathways for banking professionals via world-class qualifications, CPD content, and other learning resources, and of course, including the reason that we are here today, which is the PRB Academy. We work with banks, regulators, governing bodies, and other banking and financial institutions across the globe. I'll give you now a very brief introduction to the PRB Academy prior to playing the video. The Academy was founded through a partnership between the United Nations Environment Programme Financial Initiative, or UNEP, Chartered Banker Institute, and GIZ. I'm not going to try and pronounce the full name for GIZ. I'll let you read that off the slides yourself. I'm now going to show you the video, which really outlines the Academy's core objectives and gives a little bit of the background that's involved. The unique education and training programme that we have here with the PRB Academy, it supports banks worldwide on their journey to align their professional practice, strategies, operations, and decision making with the objectives of the UN Sustainable Development Goals and the Paris Agreement in mind. So please sit back and just enjoy the video.
The triple planetary crisis of climate change, nature and biodiversity loss, and pollution underpins the urgency and importance of international collaboration across all strands of society. Banks have a unique and critical role to play in pivoting the global economic system to redirect capital and accelerate the pace and scale of positive change across entire economies. In order to see meaningful changes at the heart of organizations, every single bank employee needs to consider responsible and sustainable practices in their day-to-day decision-making. From understanding more responsible lending practices to learning how to work with their customers to help them green their businesses and offer sustainable products, banks and their employees are embarking on a journey of unprecedented scale. Therefore, we are delighted to introduce the Principles for Responsible Banking Academy, a unique online learning program designed for banking professionals all over the world. The Academy brings together the United Nations, the world's most established professional banking institute, and one of the largest organizations for international development cooperation worldwide. All of which, thanks to their many years of experience, are at the forefront of sustainable finance. Through education and training, the Academy will support banks in the global sector to align their professional practices with the UN Principles for Responsible Banking, the world's foremost framework for ensuring that bank strategy and practice align with the vision society has set out for its future in the Sustainable Development Goals and the Paris Climate Agreement. The Academy will create a global network of responsible bankers, mainstreaming responsible banking and sustainable finance through capacity, capability, and culture. This leading-edge educational program is the first of its kind, having been designed by industry experts in consultation with banks worldwide. The training program can be completed entirely online, making it widely accessible to professionals worldwide. The curriculum is suitable for individuals at all stages of learning, whether beginner, specialist, or at executive and board level. We believe that through the learning opportunities offered in our unique curriculum, we can support the banking sector's transition toward a better future, one which is aligned with better practices, better decision-making, and has a better impact on the world. If you want to be part of the change and register your interest in the Academy, please visit our website at www.prbacademy.com.
There we are. Hopefully, it's an amazing video with a huge impact there when you see it, and it gives you a bit more information on the sort of background behind the PRB Academy and the reasons why we have developed and introduced this academy. You'll see on screen now that we have the 4 modules which are available through the PRB Academy. I just want to now take the time to run through a few slides just to give you more information on those 4 modules and who they are mostly sort of aimed at in that regard. First of all, also Brad will show us some more of the e-learning activities following these slides, at which point you'll be able to see how the interactive e-learning content is there, the audio-visual guides, case studies, etc. There's a lot of sort of knowledge checks and reflective learning opportunities within the modules. Certainly the learning has been designed to really encourage the learner to bring a more practical approach and less theory to the PRB Academy, and allows the learner to bring the content to life to make it more relevant to their own day-to-day role. As you can see there in the bottom of the slide, each course should take around 12 to 15 hours to complete. Having completed one of the modules myself and currently working on another one of the modules, and confirm that is a fair judgment of time. Upon completion, the learner will also receive a digital badge, which I know a few of you who have joined have already seen the badge through my own and colleagues' sort of LinkedIn profiles, etc. But I'm not going to go into that too much. Brad will be able to cover more of that later on during the live demonstration also. So moving on to the Getting Started module. So who is this sort of mainly aimed at? Well, it can be aimed at all bank employees, and this is indeed the one that I have completed myself. You'll see from the demonstration later with Brad that it brings into conversation the science, information on the principles and practices of sustainable finance, including sustainable development goals, Paris Agreement, and the bank governance as well. It introduces the learner to the roles of the bank and the banking system in the economy and society. It discusses how a day-to-day approach to responsible banking for individuals can have an impact. And on the slide deck here, you will see, obviously, which has the topics which the learners will pick up from the module. So as I said, I don't want to go into that module in too much detail because Brad will be able to bring it more to life when it comes to the live demonstration on there. Just a quick piece before we then move on to the next module. You will see here, I did mention obviously the digital badge, and this slide here also shows you what the digital badge will look like. The badge on this screen does have the Getting Started in Responsible Banking course completion on there. Also, depending on which course you complete, will have the different course name held within the badge, and of course you can collect the badge. You don't just have to complete the one. If you've completed additional ones, then you do have access to the multiple badges. But yeah, Brad will show more about how you can use the badge and how to operate the badge later on in the presentation. So moving on to the clients and customers module that we have. Again, the topics that are included are on the slide deck there, so I'm not going to read through them. So what sort of learning outcomes are involved with this, with those topics? Obviously, you'll be able to explain the triple planetary crisis, which includes climate change, biodiversity loss, pollution, help to understand and implement the principles for responsible banking as a framework to allow you to support clients and customers. You'll be able to understand the tools and techniques which can be used also to support those clients and customers. And I think it's important to say that the clients and customers may sound straight away that should be aimed at client and customer based colleagues. However, from speaking to other clients and speaking to people out with, they have certainly found that there are many roles within the industry which could benefit from the clients and customers to give them their own understanding and sort of raise awareness of the knowledge of sustainability. By that, what it means to be a responsible bank, a responsible banker, and how you can encourage and support the clients and customers to take responsibility for their own actions and understanding of the impacts that they make, both positive and negative, to the environment and society. And also recognises the role of your relationship managers and other bank staff in supporting the client on their journey to implement sustainability and within their businesses in line with the United Nations sustainability goals and the Paris Agreement itself. The climate change module. So I mentioned I previously completed the Getting Started. This is now the module which I am currently working through. For me, I think it's a fantastic module because it gives a lot more detail on the science, the implementation, the reporting, the analysis and strategy, etc., that's involved when it comes to, within the context of climate change, a sort of 3-step process as such. Impact analysis, target setting, reporting is very, very important. It sort of helps to raise the awareness, and the sort of next step of raising awareness of the impact of climate change has on society and banking, but also the impact that society and banking has on climate change. It's a two-way thing. It's not all just one way. Again, you'll be able to see from this slide that it does include more information on the relationship between responsible banking and the triple planetary crisis. Overall, the module includes a bit more of the sort of risk and governance-based that you'd expect to find within the sort of climate-related training. It helps to raise an understanding of climate change and how the PRB as a framework, how it can be maximised to bring positive impact and support the transition to more sustainable, responsible banking industry, and in turn a more sustainable world going forward. We also have the board members and executives module. Hopefully the title of this module sort of gives you an indication of who this one would be mainly aimed at. Again, you do have the topics on screen there in the slide to see what topics are covered, and I can also discuss some of the learning outcomes of this one. This one helps you to raise awareness of the key questions and provide a bigger picture when considering strategy and policy. It helps you to lead and facilitate embedding those policies within the very heart of your own organisation. But also brings in the science and risk-based approaches that we have seen overlapping on some of the other modules. But then it sort of enhances to analyse and evaluate the effectiveness of those approaches from a sustainable banking approach. Of course, it is aimed at sort of mainly board members and executives. The learning outcomes as such help to identify and analyse strategy influences on banking, critically evaluate how responsible banking can be incorporated into strategies and policies, and how to create a plan for embedding those strategies. That's all very important. So that concludes the sort of slides which I have based on the modules within the PRB Academy. I'd now like to hand back across to Karen.
Thank you, Craig. Just make sure my video is working so you can at least see me. I think you'll all agree that that was a truly insightful presentation. And the video, as I would agree with Craig, is is really inspiring, and I guess just open up our eyes. As a reminder, we're now going to pass to Brad, and Brad is going to take us through the live screen. Just a cautionary note, Brad is taking you through his LMS, so you'll see that some of them may have been completed because Brad is partway through some of the modules. It is a live system, it's not a test system, so please bear with us if Brad keeps repeating himself to say, this is mine, and you would normally do this, or you would normally do that. Brad, if you're ready, I will pass on to you and say welcome to the session.
Thanks, Karen. So welcome everyone. So today I'm just going to run through just a walkthrough of just the initial stages of the getting started in responsible banking section. So the module is hosted on our learning management system. So anyone who does decide to enroll will have access to it via this. Once you do get your login details, you'll be presented with the sort of an image like I have on screen here, which kind of really gives you kind of a flavour for how the module is set out. So each of the units does have a strong introduction there, followed by the different units contained within the module, which is then broken down into topics, which you'll see shortly. So the system is designed to be sort of user-friendly, really simple and easy to follow, and just an exciting journey to kind of really bring learners into the subject matter in a really easy way, just inspiring you to kind of think not just as individuals, but as bankers as well, so you can really then get that into your working profession. So as I said, each section does have the introduction there, which will include kind of an introduction to the topic, the learning outcomes for the module, and also the structure of the program and how that best works, and just have the similar videos to what Craig played just now, just introducing kind of the principles of responsive banking and how they've been built to kind of help kind of enhance the industry. So I'm going to take you into the unit 1. And hopefully there's not too much of a delay for everyone. So as Karen did point out, so I am working through the course myself at the moment. So I've recently completed it as of last week. So I started it at the start of January. It took me a couple of weeks to complete. So the 10 to 15 hours that Craig kind of alluded to really is kind of a realistic time frame on what you can expect to achieve. So I'll take you in. So once you do log in, you do have this home screen. So as you can see, all the different topics are ahead of you, so you can easily bookmark your process, and when you do come out and come back into the system, you will be brought back to the bit where you last left it. So I'm going to bring you into the introduction here, and as you'll notice straight away, obviously we don't bombard learners with bulk text. It's very much imagery focused, with kind of bite-sized learning chunks to really kind of hit home on the key points. The idea, and what I found from my learning, is it is really building that foundation with this getting started unit. It kind of gives you the information you need to know, and then it kind of makes you curious about kind of how you can then develop that and do a bit more research moving on to that. It's designed to be as interactive as possible, so we encourage learners to kind of interact with the content through using different arrows to move through different images and different texts, and then we also build in statistics, which are all gained from kind of reputable resources, which I'll cover shortly, but also just to bring that kind of content to life, so you can learn about the theory behind it, and you can see the real life examples on what's happening there. We then look to also combine it with imagery to really show you kind of the stats and kind of an image to kind of make it hit home for you. Again, looking at extremes and opposites. So this bit here falls into sort of some information which is brought to you by NASA, but we've got sliders to kind of emphasize the extremes. So this is looking at kind of weather impacts and particularly the polar jet stream. And you have the link then to the NASA website, which is giving you the science behind that. So you as a learner can really see that actually you're getting the most up-to-date and the most credible answers and evidence to back up that theory. So when you then come to apply it to your banking practice, you can really kind of know the rationale behind it and make it hit home. We also give you examples again through the arrows here, just to bring things to life. And also sort of simplified diagrams. Again, just to kind of, when you've got a lot of science, because with sustainability, the science can be quite heavy. And if you're not kind of that like-minded, it can be difficult to kind of understand. So we do break it down into simple diagrams, again, throughout the content, just to bring to life and make it easier for you to kind of embed that knowledge. Here as well, we have examples of recent events. So again, we've tried to be as most recent as possible. So we've got the heat wave, the heat wave in Greece from July and August 2021, and also cover off a little bit about kind of the wildfires in Australia and California, which were within the last few years. Again, when we come on to the science elements of it, we would just try and keep it as simple and kind of foundational as possible, just so we're not bombarding you with information and you can really understand what you need to know for this foundation. And one of the things I really like personally throughout the content was the did you knows. So these were kind of real thought-provoking facts, just to kind of make you really think about kind of the different things that are happening across the world. And like one thing that stood out to me here is obviously from Swiss Re regarding climate change and the value. So the cut to the value of the world economy would be $23 trillion by 2050. It just really makes you kind of understand the vast scale of kind of what we're dealing with. We also have case studies thread throughout the learning to again bring to life the theory that you are learning and kind of relate that to real practice, and you can see what other banks are doing. So this article here has been taken from the Australian Banking Association and their task force to coordinate help for droughts. So you can see here kind of a little bit of information, and then you can click on the link to take you into that full case study. We then kind of combine that with questions and activities, which are all designed to be reflective learning. So it gets you thinking about kind of your own organizations and the practices that are in place there and what you could do to potentially make that sort of change things or impact things more prominently, get my words out. Again, just more imagery, just in different formats to kind of keep you engaged and make sure it's not repetitive, and you're not just reading for reading's sake. And again, kind of similar to earlier on, we're keeping kind of the imagery theme going, just kind of showing you the two different extremes and backing that up with facts. This here as well, also just a research paper by the Bank of France, again, just to re-emphasize the research and the science and statistics all behind the learning you're taking on. So as you move through the content, again, we'll have different things for you to interact with, just to keep it all fresh. And again, here we've got the World Health Organization, who provided science, which we've used to kind of reinforce the information you're taking on. So again, another real reputable source. Once you come to the end of the section, it's easy to navigate through to the next topic. You literally just click on the link at the bottom, which will take you to the next section. So this takes you then into the science of climate change and intergovernmental responses. And this section for me definitely did have a lot of the key buzzwords you'd expect to see around sustainability, and covers off some of the initiatives in a real simple way for you to understand. So if you've not had a lot of exposure before, it really does give you that foundation knowledge and make sure that you are kind of in that getting started phase. We also have activities such as the drag and drop exercise here. Some of them are more in depth than others, just to kind of, again, mix it up for you. You can also click on the links to show feedback. So if you were to get the answer wrong, it shows you what the right answer would be and why that is. Again, similar to the topic one, just kind of getting the science down in simple sort of sentences, just so it's easy for you to embed. And again, the diagrams to really understand the science. Again, another NASA link there, another case study, asking you to kind of research your own bank and kind of what they are doing. It could be great because some people on the call will be from PRB banks and other people not from PRB banks. So it really gets you thinking from different aspects. So if your bank isn't a PRB bank, then what practices could they take on board, and how you can promote that yourself within your organization? Or if you are part of a PRB bank, kind of actually research into how well does your bank kind of advertise internally with staff and externally with customers on the different sections. Also cover off obviously like I said, the key initiatives. So you've got here the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, the Kyoto Protocol and the Paris Agreement, which are all regularly talked about within the sustainability area. And it gives you the simple kind of things they're doing and the initiatives and what they mean for you as individuals. And it also helps from a getting started point of view, if you are moving to sustainability roles in the future, you know what people are talking about when it comes to that. And then throughout the content as well, there are questions to kind of refer back to what you're taking on. We also introduced the UN Principles for Responsible Banking here. So this is the PRB and the 6 principles, and it tells you what banks should be doing if they are aligning themselves to that, and what you can look to see. So then you can judge for yourself, kind of for those banks which are PRB, how well are they doing in these different areas, and you can make your own judgments on that. Again, the good questions which show you feedback, will show you kind of what you've got right and what you've got wrong. And then links to other initiatives that are all kind of form part of the learning there. So as Craig alluded to, there's no formal test with the Academy modules, so that there are sort of the test your knowledge sections, so you can access them from the main menu. So as you go through, naturally you will come across them towards the end of the learning, but you will click on the test your knowledge section, and then this will give you a series of multiple choice questions just to assess kind of the learning that you've taken on. If you were to get any of the questions wrong, you can click on show feedback as before, just to show you kind of what the right answers are and why they are the right answers. But there's no pass mark for this. You'll essentially kind of just complete it as a knowledge check for yourself, which is similar to some of our qualifications that we offer. Once you have completed your knowledge test, you'll move to a unit summary. So with the unit summary, it gives you just a strong, clear idea of what you have taken on, bringing out those key points for you and what it is imperative for you to know to make sure you've understood the topics fully. Again, you can kind of copy this out. You can save it. You'll have access to the material for a 12-month period, so you can come in and out of it as well once you have completed, as I've done today, just to revisit anything you want to. And then you'll move to the completion and downloads. So you'll tick to confirm that you've completed all the different units. So you can do that once you've achieved 100% in each of the subject areas. And then you can download your reflections to access sort of a dossier for you to then kind of refer back to. So it will bring together all the answers from the questions and activities that you've completed, for you to then think about how you can implement different things within your own organizations. Once you have completed all the courses, you'll close them down, and once you've finished all the units, you will be awarded with the digital badge, which Craig alluded to earlier. So this is sent to you within sort of 2 hours of completing the course, so it's quite clear. And once you get it, it will look like the image on screen now. So you'll receive an email which will talk you through how to embed it, how to share it. But anyone can verify, so it's always live. So you can embed it into your email signatures, you can share it on your LinkedIn profiles, Twitter profiles, Facebook, even message it via WhatsApp. And we also have a digital wallet feature if you do want to keep a copy on your digital wallet on your phone, to share when you're at networking events and things like that. So it's really easy to share. So you've got the box on the right hand side here, which talks you through exactly what you want to do. So for example, if I wanted to share on LinkedIn, I could click on the LinkedIn button and that will automatically generate a post for me to then share. And anyone who is connected to me already would have seen when I passed back a few months ago. Anyone can verify my credentials, and it is blockchain. It has a blockchain ID to make sure it is completely secure. So if you click on verify credential, it does an automatic check. So someone can see that I have completed the Getting Started in Responsible Banking. That is verified. They've got the verifier's website and the blockchain information there. And as we move into sort of a digital world, obviously our qualifications, but we will let's get badges out and the other modules. And as we grow into PRB, you will get more modules there with more badges. So you can click on that and see all of the credentials. One of the great things about these badges, obviously, they don't expire. So once they are issued, they will remain live for you. So they'll always be remaining current. Excellent. So that kind of brings me to the end to the run through for today. Obviously, I've not gone through the whole unit, as a lot of the interactivity is the same throughout. But like I said, it would look on focus on different things. And I hope that if you do enroll, that you will really enjoy it. I'll pass back to Karen now to host the questions.
Thank you, Brad. Well done. A lot there that was covered, and it was really interesting. So thank you very much for that. I'll just wait for Brad to stop sharing the screen. We've had one question come in already on the Q&A. So if you do have any more questions and you don't feel brave enough to put your hand up and raise them in the open forum, that's the place to do it. So our first question has come in that asks a quite pertinent question. How does this learning programme compare to the Green and Sustainable Finance Certificate that we have on offer? So at this moment in time, I'd like to introduce one of our colleagues, who is Michelle White, who has been working quite extensively with a lot of the banks to roll out the PRB Academy, and probably will be able to answer this question a lot better than I would do, and give you some more details. So Michelle, would you like to take that question and give us an answer, please?
You can hear me. Hi everyone, thanks for joining. Thank you to Craig and Bradley for that great overview of the Academy. So yeah, in terms of how it differs from our professional qualifications, so the Academy, as Craig alluded to, is the partnership between ourselves as a global professional educational body and the United Nations. So that is quite a powerful collaboration in terms of developing content and being able to scale that content up for financial services all around the world. So what we can expect with the Academy over the next few years is it will be the go-to platform. It will train millions of bankers around the world. And this is just the start of the Academy. In terms of how it differs to the qualifications, it's very, very practical, focused training content. So you're looking at each of these courses 10 to 15 hours long, other than the board and executive one, which is around 8 to 10 hours long. So they're short, they're bite-sized training programs that are very focused on bringing the theory into practice and how you build that into your role. As Bradley alluded to in his overview of the module, there is no pass or fail assessment built in, although there are knowledge checks, but because they're very practical in their nature, what we ask learners to do is reflect all the way throughout the modules, and to reflect so that they can bring the content into their professional practice. And then at the end of the unit, we actually ask people to think of the future as well. So we look at reflections and aligning that to an individual role, and we also look at action planning for the future. With the professional qualifications, the coverage is far greater than what you will find in each of these individual modules. It will cover certain areas in a lot more depth. And of course, the content coverage of a professional qualification leads to the qualification itself and a designation. So two very different products, two very different journeys, but both very well aligned. And for some people, they may find some of the PRB content a good stepping stone into a qualification. And that is what our team are here to do, to chat with individuals and banks in terms of which pathways and which content is most appropriate for them. Do we have any other questions?
The question has come in to say what future modules are planned for PRB and what the timescales are for release. So can you just share a little bit of information on that, and particularly the alumni? This is just the start of the Academy, so very exciting. We're very excited to be in the pilot phase. So it's launched with the 4 courses that Craig spoke of earlier. But in 2023, this year where we are now, we'll be building on that, and the focus will be around biodiversity law and nature-based finance. So watch this space for more content to come. And one of the questions that came with it was around timescales, but we don't have the timescales at this moment in time. We do have to work with our partners that Michelle has mentioned earlier on, so it isn't just a institute timeline that we work to. We do collate all information across globally. So once we have those timescales, then we can get that information to you, but we don't have it at this moment in time. If you do want more information from us, and you'd like to hear more about the Academy, or you'd like to have the slides shared with you, then please do email one of the professional standards managers or the team, or put your details into the chat box. But if there is no more questions at this stage, I will once again thank you very much for attending. Thank my presenters, Craig and Brad, who did a great job, and Michelle for stepping in at the very last moment to answer those questions. For now, I will say goodbye and thank you.